Switch for office.
This is Victor Avila from ICE. We got shot. We got shot. We are on the highway to Querétaro, Mexico. We've been shot and attacked on the highway. I am an ICE special agent.
February 2011, Victor Avila calling the U.S. Embassy for help after he and his partner had been attacked on Highway 57, a road in Mexico they had been warned about. Avila had met his partner Jaime Zapata the day before their assignment had taken them on Highway 57. Avila was hired as an ICE special agent, U.S. diplomat in Mexico City, working out of the U.S. Embassy.
My main concentration in Mexico was human trafficking. I was helping dismantle organizations that traffic women and children from Mexico into the United States.
Agent Zapata was fairly new to Mexico City.
I met him that afternoon, but I felt like I met him all my life because from the moment that I met him to the drive up until the ambush, we shared so many stories, so much information that now that I look back, it's kind of, it's sad.
Their assignment was to transport equipment from Monterrey using the well-known highway.
I challenged the assignment because there had been a lot of issues with the Zeta cartels on Highway 57.
Avila says the U.S. Embassy had issued an alert 3 weeks before the assignment, stating no one was allowed on Highway 57.
The alerts and the intelligence was ignored by my supervisors, and they sent us on this assignment anyway.
On the way to Monterrey, everything seemed fine, but it was the trip back on Highway 57 when the chaos began. 2 SUVs with armed men ran them off the road.
They surrounded our Suburban. In the chaos of them trying to gain access into our armored Suburban, my window was cracked down a couple of inches on my right side, the armored window. And they were able to introduce an AK-47 and a handgun by my head. And I immediately raised the window to catch the barrels of both guns and to try to get them to wiggle them out of there. But without notice, they opened fire into the cabin, striking Special Agent Jaime Zapata several times. I got shot 3 times, once in the chest and twice in my left leg. And I saw Jaime get hit with an AK-47 round, which was a fatal shot in his left leg.
After the men would leave the scene, Avila would press down on Zapata's wound and call for help.
What is your name, you said, sir?
Victor Avila, please call Jerry Miles. I don't have another phone.
What did you look at?
Please call Jerry Miles. We've been shot on the highway.
Highway? What is the highway, sir? To where?
Mexico, Querétaro. They know where I'm at.
Okay. Try to remain online, please.
It would take 40 minutes for someone to find them and help them get off of Highway 57.
My whole time there was try to keep Jaime alive and try to keep his wound from bleeding. And I hadn't even realized that I had been shot myself. And not until I was on the phone with the U.S. agents from the U.S. Embassy that one of the agents told me to check myself physically, which I did because I had a lot of shrapnel and glass in my face, and I had both my blood and Jaime's blood on me, so they said you have to physically check you, and that's the first time I saw my wound in my chest.
He says the time spent waiting for help felt very lonely.
A lot of emotions, a lot of helplessness.
Help would arrive by helicopter. They were rushed to the closest hospital.
They took Special Agent Jaime Zapata to one trauma unit. They took me to another. Later on, the doctor came over and informed me that Agent Zapata had passed.
Weeks after the ambush, the 8 shooters were caught and extradited to the U.S. They were tried in 2017. The 5 who pled guilty got sentences ranging from 12 to 35 years.
Which are very low, and the Zapata family and I disagree with sentences. The 2 that did not that did not plead guilty and went to trial, they were sentenced to 2 life consecutive sentences.
But it doesn't end there. Last year, the shooters appealed their sentence.
The appeal was granted by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, and they dismissed the murder charge. So as I talk to you today, no one is accountable for the murder of Agent Jaime Zapata. They're there in prison, in U.S. prison, on attempted murder charges and the gun charges only.
The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals says it was dismissed because the murder happened outside of the U.S. Avila is now working to help change the law in hopes they'll be resentenced to life in prison.
There's a lot of anger. I'm working a lot with the senators, the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association. There's a bill right now in the legislation. We're hoping it's a bipartisan bill that changes the wording of that law.
In the meantime, he's working on sharing Zapata's story.
I will continue to fight for justice for Jaime. I will continue to mention Jaime in all my public speaking events that I do. I mention Jaime because I don't want his death to be in vain. I want people to know the sacrifice that he gave to defend our homeland.
You can find a more descriptive account of what Avila and Zapata experienced on Highway 57 in a new book Avila recently published. Reporting at the U.S.-Mexico border, Susie Castillo.